It is week 15, folks. It's an exciting week as this season is beginning to wind down. We're going to do our picks today. But before we get into our picks, we're going to talk about some things that the league has been talking about. Um, Obviously, starting with that 49ers game with Campbell, should I say? Pronunciate his name right. Um, so, Alex, tell me your thoughts about a player. Hold on before you get started that was suited up, ready, game time was ready. One of his colleagues go down, and he chooses not to play at all to help his teammates. What's your thoughts and your feelings about a player that is prepared to play, but then decide he doesn't want to play at all? Do you cut this guy? How do you address this?
Oh, yeah. Detail about that. The horrible, focus put for me, I got the awful. I gotta come of anything. Don't need to be confused. It could it could be okay. Let me pick the new okay. Here we go. And you can't go down, alright?
Right.
Uh, oh, something in football. I had cold. We put to play. I I will make it play. That I
Well, you can't. Well, you technically can't make him play because he's an adult, right? And it's a job, even though because this is
yeah
professional sports here, so there's a difference. If it was college, or maybe high school, a different story. But in this case, he's an adult. It's work. It would be like your boss telling you, "Hey, I need you to go and let's say he worked in the back in the kitchen of a restaurant, and they tell him, hey, look, I need you to step up and go up front and run the register for a few minutes until I can get things under control." And he goes, "No, I'm not going to do that." So this obviously would be devastating because at the time, let's say you got a restaurant full of people, and if you can't ring the people up, you can't cook for them, right? It's devastating to have an employee reject or become insubordinate for whatever the reasons were. I don't know how the 49ers technically address this with him other than cutting him or waiving him um, at some point, knowing that basically they're not going to make the playoffs, even though they're not technically eliminated, but their season's pretty much over. This has been a really weird year. Remember, I was telling you, I believe there's things going on behind the scenes. I don't think I find it really hard that a player suited up and was ready game day and then chose to walk away. There's something going on in that facility, in that building, and I know all things stay in house. Like players don't typically go out publicly and say things, but there's something going on. Something's not right there. And whatever it is completely dismantled and disrupted that team completely, besides the injuries. Yes, we know they had injuries, but oh my God, something's wrong. And I've been saying that. Look, I watched the 49ers before you were born. My mother was a big 49er fan, your grandmother, basically. And what an organization. And when players go there, it meant a lot, you know. Speaking of which, we're going to move on from there. We're going to talk about another organization that once upon a time used to have that same stature when you walk through the doors. It was a big difference between going to the New York Jets or the New York Giants when you walked into their facilities. You were treated differently as players when you went there as a free agent, or somebody that was going to possibly potentially be drafted. And that is why I bring that up, because you got this kid Cam Ward who he really wants to be a Giant. It almost reminds me of Eli. Again, this is this is before you were born, because I know you didn't get to see Eli's draft, but this young man wants to be a New York Giant. And I mean, Look, his gameplay is okay. I mean, he can do multiple things. Um, he has a tremendous appetite. He loves the game. He's passionate, which is something, you know, the Giants definitely need. They need a commander in chief out there on the field that not just want to be out there and lead, but really want to win, and that will change the culture there. But with that being said, um, I mean, do he become a Giant, or you think the Giants take Sanders if the Giants ends up being the first overall pick? I mean, they're likely to be a second overall pick. It's going to either be them or the Raiders. But at the end of the day, that also depends how both those teams finish their season. But
Uh, both,
um, but
both,
do you, if you were in the Giants war room on draft day, do you take Sanders or do you take Cam?
both from both teams include I got back his we were no you work out offering defending you I have I have two quarterback. They both need a big quarterback up because the gas class. Uh,
Well,
uh,
honestly, the Raiders have a young quarterback that they drafted already. Unfortunately, he needs an offensive line. He needs some defensive players. They need to build around him. They don't necessarily need Sanders or Cam, but I remember I'll never forget what Arizona Cardinals did at the time, who had drafted back to back years quarterbacks, and then the third year drafted again, which is now their current quarterback. You know, after going, I mean, that's three first rounders they had. Like, that's insane. And not that those other quarterbacks were bad quarterbacks at the time. They just chose, oh no, this guy's even more hotter than the last guy we took, so we're going to take him. So will the
well,
Raiders be greedy and do the same? Will they feel that Sanders is an elite player and he's once of a lifetime that they got to have? Or do they take Cam and do what San Diego did at the time, because that's what they were called, San Diego Chargers, to the New York Giants, knowing that the kid wanted to go, Eli wanted to go to the Giants, took him anyway, and then got extra draft picks from the New York Giants, which ruined the Giants for a couple of years in the draft by doing that. But it worked for the Chargers. They were able to be a very competitive
well,
franchise by taking Philip Rivers. So
I don't the I know can I go no I know his dad want him to be a cowboy. The but I don't think so.
well, the Cowboys may look, maybe they surprise everybody and give the Raiders some ridiculous stuff just to get that first overall pick. And again, that's if that's how that falls, because again, we still have what, 3 or 4 more weeks left for football. So look, if the Giants can't close out, and they have a much harder schedule than the Raiders these next couple of weeks. So at the end of the day, the Giants might be the first overall pick and not the Raiders. If the draft were, I mean, if the season was end today, the Raiders would be the
Yeah.
first overall pick, and then maybe because they don't really need a quarterback, maybe they trade down with the Cowboys and steal a whole bunch of draft picks from from the Cowboys. But then the Cowboys get Sanders, which is what Deion Sanders would love. But at the end of the day, back to being a Giant, Cam wants to be a Giant. But then that we have to say, well, what's going to happen with? I believe the Giants GM and head coach is gone. There's no ifs buts about it. I think they close this year and they let these two go, especially the GM, because honestly, yeah, they came in together because they both came from
Yeah.
Buffalo. So you're not going to get rid of one and keep the other. But at the end of the day, the ownership needs to make a decision here and start over. And hopefully he does it sooner than later. I know there's only a couple more weeks left. I know he wants to kind of be classy and just do it at the end of the season. But at the end of the day, if he don't make a change there, after a decade of poor performance, actually a little over a decade of poor performance by that organization, what is it? What did we say 2 weeks ago? What, it was like 14 14 seasons of not winning their division. It was 14 seasons ago is the last time they won their division. That's sad. Sad. So anyway, we're gonna move on from Cam and the Giants and draft talk. We're gonna now talk about the Heisman Trophy winner, who's also going to be drafted and on his
Yeah,
way to the NFL in
true.
2025. So let's talk about Hunter.
Yeah,
Congratulations to him. I think outstanding young man. He is he's multi-talented. He plays both offense and defense. I mean, most of the people in the league are saying they would use him on the defensive side and maybe make some offensive packages for him. What do you think?
they they put a decade gonna be really interesting to watch it. Duke, Duke, in the cowboy and Duke, the for your dad. You know, he get ready for the job. Um, part,
Like we did last year, 3 hours of filming.
no, we're not going to do that. Um, we covered that, but no, it's not going to be out of that way.
Man,
It's part,
that was exhausting. That was some day. That was a lot. That was a lot of work.
but this kid gonna be interesting to tell, and in we got a couple of that look like can be caught, but a couple of these put we got Hill for we got a couple of to have to begin caught there. Yeah, I got talk about him. I talk about him, and then move him to the top, move him to go back, move him to go football. You know, we got what which team which team that he will pick up, and you know it do pick up we got if you will come in you or not. So we got the uh for me great kid great kid uh great kid throughout a grow. So I can't wait for him to be hopefully committed to the NFL. Um we got it's to April town, but congratulations to the Hotman Trophy. How
Yeah.
about you?
Well, look, I think it's not my first time watching a multi-talented player, make it into the league, and yeah, we do have to wait and see which team he goes to because some coaches aren't capable like that. Like if, for example, if Belichick was still in the league, um, and he was still with New England, he would use him the way his talent are. Not every coaches are gonna or organization is going to do that. They would literally it'd probably be too much for them, so they'll probably just make him play safety or just one position. Probably will never see the ball offensively because of his gifts and talents. But and some coaches will probably utilize him the same way. Maybe if Sean Payton gets his hands on him, maybe he comes a Bronco. Maybe Sean Payton takes him because he drafted Hill when he was with the Saints as coach, and
Well,
so maybe he'll use him for the gifts he have. But we have to just wait and see what happens. That's a talented young man. Congratulations again to him. We're
but
gonna now, real
wait,
quick, we're gonna talk about Belichick and
yeah,
his being a college coach again. He
oh,
looks fantastic for a man his age.
yeah,
I gotta honestly tell you, he says he has a lot more coaching in him. He's gonna be, help influencing these young men before they even make it to the NFL, which means teams around the league are gonna benefit from his hard work by help developing these young men. So I
uh,
think it's a wonderful thing. I'm excited to see North Carolina and what they bring to the table as a team. But we're going to see, man. This is going to be 2025 college football is going to probably be quite interesting to
you
see
know,
what happens.
It's gonna be really interesting to see the best come back. Not in the big league. In a cotton team. The little in a no cotton unbelievable. Big new college football athlete. I know big heckle that is team football. Not he can be better. But this is gonna be interesting for the end for college football. Now we'll be into our pick.
Yeah,
We-
because it's almost game time. So let's get
Yeah.
into that. So let's talk about the Dolphins and Texans. That is the first 1 o'clock game that's on my list.
Oh boy.
Who do you got? Dolphins or Texans?
Oh boy. This could be a playoff game. Um, could be a playoff game. But I mean, I'll put up. Yeah. And this today, uh, they hope them. They need to get the win over Hitler. So give me my army to get the over Hitler.
I'm going to take the Texans. I agree with you. This could be a playoff game for the Dolphins. Um, Cowboys Panthers. Now we know that the Panthers have been a very competitive team these last few weeks. They have not been the team that we thought they were going to be for excuse me, young quarterback in them. But it seems like they're starting to turn their season around towards the end here, and they are pretty aggressive as a team. Do the Cowboys get it done today, or do they fall victim to this team and get mauled by some Panthers?
Well, well, look, look, this is a company. Win the game or go home to end the year. Um, the company, thing out of the looking for the number that. Uh,
Well, wait, they're way off from getting that.
no, no,
There's some teams that are got a little bit better record than him. That is,
the get her, for them, but then I help for our team. But if the week they give the week uh to hopefully count they say hopefully make it in enough. Give me I'm gonna say give me the pepper. I believe the pepper we get the uh we the pepper uh hot burger with the cat cheese the eagle and the other team I forgot one more team.
well, that even though that Eagles game at the end, they were competitive in that game. The Eagles kind of dominated them a lot better than what the Chiefs did. The Chiefs literally should have lost that game. They had some help, and that's
Oh,
why they won. And
I
they're the
forgot.
defending champs, so there's a
I
big
forgot
difference.
about you.
There's a big difference.
So talk about you eagle and cat eat. So all three teams get away after the game. And the pepper game you win. So give me the pepper. Top the thing. The the part will be out on put off
Okay.
the week.
I'm gonna go with the Panthers as well. Next up is Jacksonville and the Jets.
How about it?
That
Both
almost sounds like an album cover.
yeah. Both both two teams are hamburgers this year. And what is that? For example, that people, I believe that people will go again the or bottom up day uh but we got the just the high go the both the team move on make the put on I need to all out of the put on the and the afternoon the not least give me a good bit of the I believe the day we're in the game at that time.
I will
Oh,
agree. I think the Jets will pull this one off. Next up is Bengals Titans.
well, give me go big a bit go. I put the back think out of the put on. If it we were interested to see a bit go.
and they're a little bit more healthier. So I'm gonna go
Yeah.
with the Bengals as well. Next up is Ravens and New York Giants.
Oh boy.
I'll just say, let's get this over quick. I'm going with the Ravens. Let's move forward. Let's move
No,
forward. Come on, because look, time is ticking.
no, no. The the game that a lot of people will fit the pick bottom, but I still picking New England. I picked New England to get
Oh,
the
okay.
bottom.
All right. So you picked the Giants. Chiefs and Browns. Now, this
Ah,
is an
boy.
awkward game. Let me just say this because, again, history wise, this is an awkward game between these two franchises. And in the past, they used to be a pretty physical, beat up match between the two. Now, this might be more of a shootout than a physical match because back in those days, they used to be balling real hard. But you got two quarterbacks that can throw the football and obviously put points on the board. So, who you got?
Oh boy. Yeah. Give me cat. I believe cat who get the more
I'm
point.
gonna do it. I'm gonna go with the Browns. I don't think they're gonna get an upset, and this will make the Bills matchup against the Chiefs, which happened a few weeks ago, even more interesting if the Chiefs lose this game. And this would be the type of game that the Chiefs will lose because I'm gonna tell you, like I said, those Browns they can put some points up, they can score. So you got Commanders and Saints going against each other. I'm gonna go with the Commanders here. Who you got?
Oh boy. Give me go the I believe they will get a drum at this week. Also.
Okay. Now we're going to move on to these 4 o'clock games, and we're going to start off with the Pennsylvania game. Steelers, Eagles, and we all know the Steelers have not beaten the Eagles since 1965. Obviously, you're an Eagles fan. We already know who you're going to pick. You better pick them. Uh,
It's actually I get Pittsburgh at the first the first team that come out and take it make it Pittsburgh and come out and take it and call it the Eagle. Um, I I got the Jimmy Eagle. I believe the Eagle will get the Pittsburgh Bowl. This could be a Super Bowl up there.
It
So
could be. It could be a Super Bowl matchup. I will also go with the Eagles here against the Steelers. I don't think Russell Wilson and them will get that done. The Eagles are playing at a different level right now. They're just right now. The teams aren't matching up really well against them. Um, okay, so now next 4 o'clock game is the Colts and the Broncos, the battle of the horses.
oh boy.
I'm going with the Broncos, by the way.
Um, yeah. I go give me the ball. I think that,
Okay, Bucks and Chargers.
but I thought I pick it a if if on the room, they gonna be to me because the Broncos the bull movie for I can cut the all time the
Yes,
the all time the all
for
time.
that wild card spot. Yeah.
So so give a to get that.
Okay, I will also take the Chargers in this. I was debating, do I go with the Bucks? Because you know what, the Bucks is that type of team, and this ain't a normal matchup. These two teams, franchise-wise, have not really crossed paths that frequently in the NFL, believe it or not. But I'll take the Chargers. I think they have more to lose here than the Bucks. The Bucks obviously is, I think, about 2 games ahead of the Falcons at the end of the day. So I think that's a big enough gap to say that the Bucks are safe going into the playoffs and being a division winner. Um, okay, uh, the next game is Patriots and Cardinals.
Oh boy. Demon go big Cardinal. I believe the Cardinal will get that.
I agree. I think the Cardinals will get it done. And then you have the big matchup, which would probably end up being it could be the Super Bowl itself, which is the
Oh,
Bills versus the Lions. That's a 4 o'clock game.
we gotta make
And
it. Yeah, okay, yeah, yeah.
oh my God, this is gonna be insane, especially if it's anything like how the Lions played last week against the Bills. I mean, I'm sorry, the Rams played against the Bills. Uh, that was just a hell of a game. I think the most points ever scored in an NFL game between two opponents. What was it? 86 points. They put up between the two of them. That's a
That
combined between the two of them.
that
So
that movie put it for granted and when get down and
I'm gonna go with the Lions here. I'm gonna go with the Lions.
look,
Does Josh Allen bounce back? They need this win. They need this win more than the Lions do.
they they win. The Bills that win all of the 20 because we have to eat the egg up in or the town. So yeah, I'm gonna say give me the bill. I believe the bill will get done and make the effort into see if Captain win today. Captain could be like if the bill don't win, but if the bill win, nothing happen. Captain again back. No, Captain you know what I mean.
Yes.
Let's
Okay.
move on to
Sunday night
uh,
football, which is Packers and Seahawks. This is also a very good game. These two teams played each other in the Super Bowl. I'm sorry, no, not Super Bowl. In the playoffs before.
yeah.
Um, and so this is to me going to be an exciting game. I'm going to go with Geno Smith over Love and the Packers.
Look, this game could be a playoff game. Um, if that it means into the but give me group A of the round group B of all the at that the out of team. So give me straight love.
You know,
And then on Monday Night Football, da, 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 da.
yeah, it's Monday night football. We have two games
Ooh,
tomorrow night games. We have Bears, Vikings, and then you have Falcons and Raiders.
ha, oh boy, good beer. I don't know what to do. I think it's gonna be me. I think me for we get it done here.
I'm gonna go with the Bears. I think they get a wildly upset here, and something just tells me that the Bears will somehow, some way, uh, pull it together. This could be a blowout. Obviously, with the Viking, I mean, look, the
Yeah,
Bears looked really bad against the 49ers last week. After firing their head coach, their first game, they got
yeah, who else?
rocked. Um, and so the Vikings, as we know, Donald and them have been playing superb football, but I'll take the underdogs, which is the Bears. Okay, Falcons, Raiders.
Yeah, um, yeah. Give me good say. I don't know. Give me the pocket.
Okay, I'm gonna go with the Raiders here. It's a primetime game. It's Monday Night Football,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
you know what? I know, but something tells me. Again, I'm going to take both these underdogs on Monday Night Football, and we'll
yeah,
see which one of the two. Maybe
yeah.
both of them get blown out,
Yeah, it's
but
gonna be out.
but I'm going to take them anyway. I'm going to go with the Raiders over the Falcons. And then for Thursday night football that's coming up, you have Broncos and Chargers, which is basically a not only a division game but a playoff game. Right before our eyes. I think this is do or die because if the Broncos win, they will leapfrog over the Chargers, and they will get that spot in the wild card hunt. Um, and then that would make them a really dangerous team going into the playoffs. So we got to watch them because they have been on a tear, and they know the Kansas City Chiefs. So this would be a big threat to the Chiefs
Yeah.
if the Broncos make it. Look, at the end of the day, look, the Chargers played against them twice and couldn't get it done. And even though, yeah, they escaped the last game, 19-17, that score. But the reality is the Broncos is a lot more physical as a team. I'm gonna, I don't know. Broncos making it in the playoffs. The Chiefs may not make no three-peat. They might get done playing against them. And speaking before we jump off, um, last Thursday night, Rams 49ers. Obviously, Rams went on to win.
And at the win,
Um, and so,
a horrible game.
yeah, it was
Okay.
not a good game
It
for
win.
the 49ers. Now, look, the pluses of it is it's the first game of the season where
Yeah.
no offensive touchdowns were scored. It all came down to the kickers, which means it was a defensive match,
Yeah.
which was a big difference between what the Rams did against the Bills, where it was an offensive match, and the 49ers, what they did against the Bears, which was an offensive match. And then suddenly these two teams matched up. The 49ers defense was healthy at the time. And so it was like seeing the old 49ers once again when they played against the Rams. But you know what? The Rams have always have been a thorn in the 49ers side, um, since the two franchises have been in existence. So,
The,
um,
the, oh, I don't forget. 2 weeks. We- 2 weeks. Got out the company to Netflix. I can't wait. It's gonna be really interesting to see on Netflix. I'm gonna talk J. Paul fight that I got first time.
in
Uh, both
professional, alive,
yeah,
professional sports being on Netflix, which kudos to them.
but it's
And now
really
you're going to have the NFL, which is what the big ticket was. Everybody really, in all honesty, is excited about that. Um, that they're actually jumping into the sporting world.
um
Um, Cowboys was forced to punt. If anybody has been just
and
started watching the game,
and
just so you guys know, Carolina got their first possession of the football. So,
and and a big football. But look, um, Baltimore, Baltimore football off the kickoff return.
oh, you mean he muffed the punt? I mean, muffed the kickoff.
Yeah, so yeah, yeah. You week 15. See you next week. Uh,
Week
see you next week.
16. Oh
This
my
uh,
God, I can't believe I'm
L.
even saying those words.
We have after next week. We have 2 more weeks of football there, and then head coach and put on and go to the Super Bowl begin after week 18 of the NFL. But that is 3 weeks of football left. Joking game, can't wait. Uh, can't wait for the Bills a short game and the Pittsburgh and the Eagles game, the Patriots and could be good Super Bowl not up. So yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you guys for tuning
Bye
in.
bye.
This is Alex and Felix Sports Talk, and we'll see you guys next week, week 16.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for tuning in.